Hey, what's up guys? Today I'm coming at you with a review of the Moyu Bojangles, otherwise known as the Moyu BoChuang GT. I think the first important detail to note about this cube is its price. It's priced at about $20 on the cubicle.us, which is $3 more expensive than the popular Yushin, but it's also a lot cheaper than previous Moyu 5x5s, which is pretty good in my opinion. The Bojangles comes in at a pretty standard 5x5 size, although it's worth noting that the outer layers are larger than they were on the previous model, the BoChuang. The BoChuang came with slightly smaller outer layers that made it a little bit more difficult for some people on the 3x3 stage of the puzzle. Honestly, I preferred the BoChuang at first, but I kind of got used to the Bojangles, and I can say it really doesn't make that much of a difference. It's also worth noting that the stickers are just your standard Moyu shades, nothing really special about that. Moving on into the actual performance of the Moyu Bojangles, this puzzle performs extremely well for a 5x5. The speed is very nice, but it's also controllable, and the feel is also very nice. I think it's worth noting that lockups, especially on the outer layers, are much reduced compared to the Yushin 5x5. Or at least that's what my experience with it has been. Just to show you kind of what tensions I have on here. I find this cube performs a lot like a more stable, sort of more controllable Yushin. Compared to the Yushin, I think the Yushin has just a slightly more bumpy feel, and also it has some weird catches that I think are fixed in the Bojangles. How did I forget that name? Although it's also worth noting that the cubes perform very similarly, so if you do have a Yushin, it might not be completely necessary to upgrade to the Bojangles right away, as I will get into at the end of this video. As for corner cutting, I find it kind of cliche in these videos, and not really necessary because it doesn't really matter how well the cube can corner cut if it fits your style really well. But the cube at just about every angle, sort of, inner to outer, inner to inner, outer to outer, cuts about a piece, and when you go over a piece, you'll get those weird kind of 5x5 lockups. And what's weird is this almost happens every time, sort of, at the tensions that I have it at. But it doesn't really happen during solves that much for me. I've never really had a problem with the Bojangles getting into some weird jam and just in the middle of the solve, so I don't think you have to worry about that too much, especially on kind of normal tensions. I think mine's tensioned pretty normally, so that shouldn't be too much of a problem. Although I have had it on my other Bojangles, which is kind of looser. But yeah, tensioned properly, you shouldn't really have a problem with popping or locking up. Worth noting that this cube doesn't really have the outer layer lockups quite as badly as the Yushin as well. As I'll demonstrate with this Yushin really quickly, it just feels like the outer layers sort of catch at times, like internally, sort of. It's kind of hard to explain, and this doesn't really happen on the Bojangles. It just feels pretty smooth all around all the time. So getting into recommendations with the Moyu Bojangles, I would say if you're in the market for a new 5x5, you're not really satisfied with your current 5x5, you really want to upgrade to a new 5x5, I would definitely go with the Moyu Bojangles here. Especially if you're really into 5x5, I think the Bojangles is a great option. However, if you do already have a Yushin 5x5 and you're pretty satisfied with it, or, you know, you're decently satisfied with it, you don't care about 5x5 too much, there's really no reason to throw that out and get a Bojangles. Overall though, if you're really looking for a new 5x5, I would definitely go with the Bojangles. Or if you like if you're into looser cubes, you might want to try out the Yushin, but I think most people are going to go towards the Bojangles. That's about it for my review of the Moyu Bojangles. As I've said, it's not too big of an upgrade from the Yushin, so if you do have a Yushin that you're pretty satisfied with, there's really no reason to get the Bojangles. But if you're looking for a new 5x5 and you have like a Shangshao or something, then I would recommend going up to the Bojangles. That's going to do it for this review. I'll see you guys in my next video. Whee! But it's also a lot cheaper than previous Moyu cubes. of the 5x5 size, and I can't speak English.